What are people's biggest financial regrets? It's not good to obsess over finances and talk about money all the time, but it might be helpful to know, according to research, what are some decisions people regret in their lives, maybe later on, some things that they wish they started earlier, just so that we can make sure we don't make the same mistakes and try to build good financial habits. These things will probably not get you Jeff Bezos levels of money, so you can afford very complicated medical procedures to make yourself look extremely jacked, but they might put you on the right path and ensure you don't end up losing all of your money. According to research conducted by Forbes Advisor that asked 1,000 participants what they regret the most about their finances, 43% of people said not saving enough for retirement. This involved not starting early enough and also not putting enough money towards their retirement savings. They also said they regret not taking advantage of retirement accounts, which includes the 401k for America, the RRSP for Canada, and several others for other countries. A lot of people here said they don't wish they put a lot of money in, they just wish that they had started sooner. And how can I or you do that? Well, the best time to invest was yesterday, the second best time is today, so just start investing. Open up a free brokerage account, there's several out there, and start by putting in even $50. If you don't even want to put in $50, put in $10. Put in $1, put in 10 cents, put in something. And if you think stocks are too risky, which a lot of people think they're not, you can simply start by buying GICs or simply putting that 1 cent or 10 cents or $1 in a high interest savings account, which gives you more bang for your buck than a regular checkings account. And when it comes to the question of putting in more money, more is subjective depending on the person. For me, $500 is a lot. And some of you might look at me and say, this guy is the brokest that we've ever seen in our lives. I guess a good technique is just start, see how much you're comfortable with, and build from there. In the same article, Ben Lex, a financial advisor, says that working with a financial advisor can help you save for retirement. Well, I am here to tell you, Ben, you don't need any financial advisor to help you save more. All you need is a budget. All the things that you do to make money, subtracted by all the things that take your money, equals the amount you have left at the end of the month, the year, and so on. I did Ben's job for you, all for free on YouTube. 15.8% of people also said that they regret not taking advantage of high interest environments. Interest rate is controlled by the central bank, mainly as a tool to curb inflation. When interest rates are low, people can easily borrow money and spend it all with the knowledge that they'll not have to make high payments. When interest rates are high, people don't generally want to spend more money given the general fear of borrowing. Right now, interest rates are high. In fact, they haven't been this high for over a decade, so you might classify this as a high interest rate environment. If you have some money and you're extremely risk averse, you think the world is going to burn, one thing that is not going to burn is the money in your account. Well, technically it's digital, so it cannot burn. But you can take this money and you can put it in a high interest savings account like we talked about and take advantage of these high interest rate environments. A lot of people argue this should only be for people who are extremely risk averse. And in fact, if you put that money in the stock market, you would be much better off. This was true for last year, for example, where the S&P 500, the major US stock exchange, rose by 23% and the average high interest rate account gave you anywhere between 5 to 7% on your money. Buying low and selling high is a good strategy. Buying high and selling low perhaps is not. 14.8% Americans also regret holding too much credit card debt. In total, Americans hold $1.13 trillion in credit card debt. To put this into perspective, if you were to take all of that debt and make a new country, the GDP of that country would be the 18th biggest in the entire world. This problem is partly aided by inflation. Everything's more expensive, groceries, purchases for the house, and even the bare necessities. But in part is fueled by consumerism. Keeping up with the Joneses is something that has held people back for centuries, but I actually wonder who Jones is and what a sad life he must have lived. Don't spend money just because you see other people spending money and live way below your means is a good starting point. Don't buy things just to buy things. Think 3 times or even 4 times before making a purchase above a certain percentage of your total net worth. It's always good to look around for inspiration. How are people getting good deals on utilities such as phone bills? maybe good deals on rents, and what are they doing to make their expenses maintainable? Of course, this is not always easy, but it's always worth a try to do a budget and see where you can cut expenses. 5.9% of Americans said that they had bought too much property. This is also called being house poor. Having a big house or a fancy condo and apartment seems like the dream life, but is it really? With interest rates being high, and when they're not high, property prices being too high, most people over leverage themselves and spend a large percentage of their income on their mortgage or their rent. Let's say someone has an after-tax salary of $6,000, which is not a bad salary for most parts of the country, and they get a mortgage for a 2-bed, 2-bath apartment that amounts to around $4,500. After subtracting their mortgage and let's say $1,000 extra in other expenses including food, utilities, groceries, some entertainment, Netflix, and other subscriptions, they have $500 left. Even after making a reasonable amount, they do have their house, all their expenses are paid for, but they really have nothing left. Not enough to travel, and very dependent on their spending situation. If their spending has to go up by just a bit, maybe they have another child, or you need a renovation for the house or apartment, you really have no money to rely on. And this is someone who's earning $6,000 after tax, a reasonable amount of salary in most parts of the world. This is why people regret buying property, because on top of the mortgage, you have other expenses that come with the property, including maintenance, property tax, utilities. If you live in a condo, there's also condo fees, and many more expenses that keep on piling on. A lot of people argue it's a good idea to live below your means, maybe get a smaller house, or not even get a house at all, until you can pay more down payment and lessen your mortgage amount so you can afford to live in a house and still have good savings. Easier said than done, but always something to keep in mind. And one last thing about houses is that they're illiquid. You're not going to be able to sell a house in a day, a month. Sometimes it takes multiple months to a year. Whereas with the stock market or a high interest savings account, you can withdraw your money fairly quickly. 23% of people said that they regret making material purchases. Fancy cars, luxury watches, overpriced clothing like Canada Goose jackets, which to be honest don't even look good. Unpopular opinion, people regret spending more than they can afford or even spending at all on luxury items, especially when the trade-off is spending on experiences. After spending the money, they wish they could take that decision back and spend it on experiences or invest it. Experiences like vacations, maybe some food that you really enjoy, spending time with your loved ones are almost always worth it. And investing, of course, is extremely overpowered. There's a rule of thumb that goes around in the old finance space, which is that if you can't afford to buy two of something without feeling guilt, remorse, and just bad about yourself, don't buy it. Of course, this doesn't go for experiences. Go to that country that you really wanted to go to, maybe try out that meal that you've always wanted to try. Build your experience catalog in life and not your closet, because filling up your closet means you're not really living. There, I said it. The seventh regret, and maybe the most important one, is not investing. This is different from savings. Saving is simply the difference between what you spend and what you earn in a particular time frame. For example, in a year, if let's say after taxes and paying the government so much of your money, you manage to earn $50,000. Your expenses for that year, rent, utilities, subscriptions, including Netflix and other subscriptions, were $35,000. That means that you saved $15,000. Great job. But should you stop here? Every year, the price of everything goes up. Milk that you could have bought for $1 10 years ago is worth $2.50 right now, which means that your $15,000 is going to buy less and less things for you as time goes on. This, in simpler words, is also called inflation. Maybe that example was not necessary. Inflation sucks. But the point is, you simply cannot put this money in savings and call it a day. You need to grow this. And in North America in particular, even Europe and other developed countries, one way to protect your wealth and grow it is the stock market. The stock market, particularly the major indices in America, have given you an 8% return on average for the last few decades, which has in fact outpaced inflation. And if you don't gamble your money, if you do, that's not good, but if you don't gamble your money and you put it in exchange trade funds or ETFs, some of which buy upwards of 500 companies, you probably are not going to lose money and are going to actually make money. And if you're thinking, why did no one tell me this before? I wish I'd started earlier. Start now. It's always important to start as soon as you can. And just to give you this example, if at 18 years old, you take $322, put it aside in the stock market and invest it, assuming an 8% yearly return, return with all your dividends and investments reinvested, you would have around $2 million at the age of 65. If you wait until 40, you say, I don't want to invest when I'm young. I want to go out. I want to party hard. I want to be a party boy. I want to be a party boy. And I want to spend on Netflix and other subscriptions. You would need to invest $2,102 to make the same $2 million. If you wait till the age of 50, that number goes up to $5,800. So an 18-year-old would have had to invest $181,000 to make $2 million, and the 50-year-old has to invest over $1 million to make the same amount. Start as early as you can, invest as much as you want or as little as you want to, and historically, you're way better off in retirement. Well, there you have it. Those are the 7 biggest regrets that Americans and people in general have about their finances. And at the end of the day, it's about assessing your situation and doing what feels right. Always look out for yourself and know that you are the only person that has your best interests at heart, and try to do things that put yourself in a better situation. Don't try to keep up with people. Don't give people your money unnecessarily, including and especially financial advisors. And if you have to spend or you want to spend on experiences and not material things, because experiences stick with you for a lifetime and keep you mentally and physically healthy. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you in the next one. And also, please subscribe. You have to say that for the algorithm. And press the like button. See you in the next one.